Well, good morning on this Mother's Day. It, I called a couple people from my past that are mothers this morning early, woke them up, got Thanksgiving for being awakened early. and my kids, all but Nathan and his family, will be here this afternoon. Well, Ryan won't be either. He does a very nice thing. He always works Mother's Day so that the women can have the day off at the restaurant. It's all men today, all day. Don't go there for food. Actually, it's quite good. The text today is about choices. Choose life or death, blessing or cursing. Life is about choices. We make choices all the time, every day, many times a day. They're not all about life and death and blessing and cursing, but we make some that are. Particularly in how we choose to relate to God and how we choose to relate to the people around us. There are consequences in our actions. If we are loving people, we will be loved, I believe, not by everybody. There are a few people that can't stand it if you're loving, don't understand it, don't want it. I'm reminded of the guy in Chicago. His nephew asked me to go visit him in Elmhurst Hospital because he was dying. And his nephew said, I don't think he's right with the Lord. So I go and knock on the door, hospital room. He said, well, who are you? I introduced myself. They explained why I was there. And he said, well, get the hell out of my room. I said, okay. I said, well, before you go, I want you to know that Christ died for you, loves you, and he died for you. He said, I didn't ask him to. I don't want him to. I get the blank out of my room. So I left, and 2 days later, he was dead. I thought about the people who took care of me in the hospital. The chaplain that came by several times, he was interesting. He didn't talk. He didn't listen. He was a good listener, but I couldn't get him to talk, which of course is frustrating to me because I like people to talk. But I had great care, and I would say this: the nursing staff listened to me. I had choices there too. Choose death, choose life, choose good, choose bad. It is an option to give up at this point in my life. I guess my back is too broken up, my body's too frail, and I can sit down in my chair and quit. My grandfather did that. I don't intend to. He had a stroke when he was 82. He was still farming, had a garden of more than an acre. And when he got home from the hospital, he'd already planted the garden before he had the stroke. When he got home from the hospital, he got a pair of knee pads and went out and finished his garden on his hands and knees. But he never put out another garden. He got up in the morning, ate breakfast, went and sat in a chair by the window and stayed there till lunch, went back after lunch, stayed there till supper, and then went to bed. I don't want to do that. I don't blame him for doing it. I'm not judging him. He was a good man, but he did give up. I don't want to give up. I don't want you to give up either. I want you to choose life, loving the Lord your God, following his commands. For to you and to me, this is life. It's the choice we make. When we're younger, we don't think about it so much. We just kind of make the choice automatically. We don't think too much about bad things happening. When you get to my age, you got to make this choice every day. Do I sit there and sleep all day, or do I get up and do something? Do I sleep while service, or do I preach a sermon? It is about choosing. We choose the life that God has given us, and he blesses us. It says, I set before you life and death, and blessing and cursing. If we do not choose life, we automatically wind up, maybe not with God's curses, but without some of his blessings. My boss in those days, Arlo Newell, who's gone from us now, he preached down here the first Sunday I came back from my first illness. He wrote an editorial called God's Handicap. He talked about how when Jesus went to Nazareth, where a prophet is without honor except in his home country, he could not do many miracles there because of their unbelief. Sometimes we're that way. God can't do much with us because of our unbelief, because of our low expectations. I'm trying in this point in my life to have high expectations and expecting God to live up to his deal. So far, so good. Now, will I live forever? No, not here on this thing. But I intend to live as fully as I can for as long as I can. And when I die, I want to die with courage, faith, and some humor. People ask me, why humor? I said, because humor helps us cope with life. The Grady Nutt, who was a Baptist minister who was on EOF, told a joke about Mother's Day. He said, the pastor came on and he said, this morning, we're not going to give the oldest mother a flower. We're not going to give the youngest mother a flower. We're not going to give the mother with the most kids a flower, or the one who came the farthest a flower. Instead, we're going to give a flower to every single mother. In California, there were 6 of them. So, but humor is part of life. Jesus used humor when he said, why do you take the speck out of your brother's eye when you have a log in your own? You swallow the gnat. I mean, you pick at the gnat and you swallow the camel. These were humor to make a point. We over spiritualize sometimes. It's good to have humor in life. It balances us. It keeps us cheerful, and it helps us cope. A little boy who said to his mom that my Sunday school teacher said we come from dust, that we go to dust. And he says, "Is that true?" She says, "Well, yes, it is true, Johnny." He said, "Mama, come look under my bed. Somebody's coming or going." Well, the ability to see life in a different perspective, that is important too. Choose life. Choose cheerfulness. Choose optimism. Choose God. And love one another. And let's give thanks for our mothers. Amen.